Can you hear us now? Okay. All right. That's wonderful. Gladys, are you ready? Gladys, are you
Hello.
ready? You're ready, right?
I'm ready as the network will let me speak.
Your network has to be nice today. Oh.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Hello?
Alrighty, we are live here. Oh my goodness, I didn't even see it on time that we're live here, but we are live. And yes, welcome to another amazing episode
How
of
do we fight
Service
this network
Excellence
situation? I don't understand.
Roundtable. Can you hear me?
Sorry, am I audible enough? Can you see me? I want to be sure.
Yes,
Yes, you are audible enough, Gladys. And Gladys, I
but
can hear you. Yeah.
anything you say.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Live now. We are live now. Okay. So we'll be beginning very, very shortly. So everybody wear your game face on for us to begin. Okay, you're welcome to another episode of Service Excellence Roundtable live, recorded live. So every reaction you get will be live from us, right? This week we are going to be talking about digital dependency era, right? When service is depending on algorithms, we are beginning to see a pattern um, around the globe, around the world. There's a pattern. China is embedding AI into everyday life. Governments are becoming digital service providers. Businesses are moving AI from pilots to operations. Customers are beginning to trust AI, yet people still want human connections. Today's episode would feel like more of like a fully story rather than eight separate and various reports from around the world, right? And joining me here today is me, Miss Amadi, your service corporate evangelist, and also the founder and lead strategist at Service Culture Academy. We also have here Mr. Emmanuel and Gladys. We also have my co-host and my guest. The network is networking at the moment, but I think that my co-host just fell off, but we have the guest here. All right, we have Mr. Emmanuel. Emmanuel, please could you just briefly, in 1 minute, introduce yourself? Are you there? Hello, Emmanuel. Are you there? Please bear with us. We're having some network glitches, which is quite typical of what we go through here. All right, we lost some of our co-host and guest. All right, let's just give them a little time, and we'll be here to respond to you on our roundtable. Apologies for the poor network situation, guys. All right, Gladys, welcome back. Today is today. We're already used to the network glitches right here in Nigeria. course, but I mean for this episode. Quite briefly.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
That's okay. So frustrating.
Are you there, Gladys?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. I can even see you. But please go
Great.
on.
Because at some point, I could not see you and Mr. Emmanuel.
I can't even see Mr. Emmanuel. I think he's offline. He's
Okay,
not.
so my name is Gladys Israel.
All right. Welcome, Gladys. This week is going to be very interesting as we are seeing some change in the trend when it comes to service
Okay,
worldwide.
we'll be fine. So I am,
Yes. Mr. Emmanuel, welcome.
of course, my
We
Spanish
lost,
line.
Sorry,
we lost you for a
I
moment.
okay, you lost me. Okay, I thought the network was from your side actually, because I was online and I was talking. I wasn't getting any response.
Oh my goodness. Oh, sorry about that. You could also quickly, in 1 minute, introduce yourself. Let's see how far our network allows us to analyze global trends. But please go on.
Okay,
Please go on, Mr. Emmanuel. Kindly introduce yourself, sir.
okay. You want me to introduce myself? Sorry, I didn't get that.
Yes.
It's like
Okay.
I'm barely hearing you. That's why. Okay,
Oh, sorry
my name is
about that.
Emmanuel.
Okay.
My name is Emmanuel Dairo, and just in summary, I'm a management consultant. Right, I work with business owners, majorly SMEs, where we provide strategies for business growth and sustainability as well. I think that's what I do basically.
Okay. Well, welcome. Good to have you here, sir, and joining in this conversation. First things first, I would like to apologize for the inconveniences caused by internet service providers. I don't know how we are going to fix that major infrastructure in order to improve service in Africa or in Nigeria. Let me say Nigeria to be very specific, because that's where we
Mm,
are broadcasting from. But I'm hoping that it gets better over and over again. So now let's go. What happens
okay.
when your doctor uses AI? We have people that do that, right? What happens when your bank uses AI? Your government uses AI, your school uses AI, your employer uses AI. What happens when service increasingly depends on algorithms? Right now, the world is no longer experimenting with AI. The world is
Mm,
beginning to organize services around AI. And
yeah.
this week is no different from that, right? We are seeing
Yes.
that happening, yes, around the globe. And amazingly, the world is not just moving from AI powered businesses, it's also moving to AI powered societies, with China leading the way right on
Yes.
this particular. Yes, China is embedding AI into everyday life. I'm not surprised at all that China is doing that. I mean, those people, sometimes I wonder if we exported the Chinese to the world, because they seem to be setting the trends. So now, according to the article on Reuters.com, it says AI is moving into retail, households, public services, consumer experiences. They are China is doing the most with that. So now, the question now would be that what happens when citizens begin interacting right with AI more often than they do with service employees? What's going to happen then? What's going to happen? My co-host, would you like to pitch in before Mr. Emmanuel shares his management expertise?
Okay, so I'm not sure I heard the last bit of it, but I think when I saw the highlight of it, we are not. I understand where companies, organizations, and economies are coming from when they talk
Yeah,
about adopting AI. Cost of labor, efficiency, convenience, all that is great, right? I'm all for it. I think the major concern with digital technology adopting new things is as much as you're going faster and maybe you're aiming for speed and precision at the same time, I do hope that these businesses, these organizations do not lose the human part of service.
Mm,
Because I think there was a conversation we had this week about people having to reach out to customer support and so customer support being AI or being customer support should not be what businesses offer as their unique value points because normally people do not want to reach out. People do not think that they would have problems, so they don't premeditate to reach out. It's not a planned thing, but when they reach out to you, they do hope for a smooth experience. The same thing with businesses. When customers are coming to experience your business, their goals is not whether it's AI or human. Their goals are a seamless experience, right? Their goals are somebody kind. Their goals are a system that is considerate, a system that thinks and is human friendly. So if you can do whatever you want to do, scale your AI, do all that, and achieve it, I think things can be okay. Why we're having a lot of AI versus anti-AI conversations is because it hasn't been perfected yet, right? AI is still having issues. AI is not thinking like a human. It's developing. I do believe in the future of digital transformations and developments that it will develop to a certain point. Humans are the ones building it and modeling it and training it, but we're not there yet. If you can scale your service delivery, you can be fast, you can be efficient. If you can do everything that your customers do not feel pinched, I don't think your customers will care whether it's a machine or it's a human being or it's a marker or it's Siri that is delivering the service. They get the service they want. They get the service they pay for. I think
True.
that's it for every customer's dream. So AI or not, how are you doing it? How is it working out for you? Are your customers feeling the difference in a way that pinches them, that makes them uncomfortable?
I love that. I love that
I think that's
viewpoint,
where I
Glad. I love that viewpoint. Like there shouldn't
stand.
be any difference in that interactions with your customers or citizens, right? Because right now China is not a company. China is a country. China is a country right now, and they're embedding AI into everyday life. But what would you have to say about this, Mr. Emmanuel? What do you think?
okay, well, to add to what you just said, right? What's interesting is that we are already living in this, right? We just haven't given it a name yet. Okay. So the moment people start using AI more than people, what actually shift is their expectations, right? So you will see that people you stop comparing probably let's say the way you use your bank's chatbot, right? You stop comparing it with the way you interact with the bank staff, right? So you know that the comparing it to whatever thing AI experience you had 5 minutes ago is totally different on another app. Okay. So for businesses, I don't think the scary part is about losing your job or job losses, right? So for me, I think that the scary part is 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 about businesses becoming irrelevant because the bar has just moved and you can see that a lot of companies don't even know that it has moved, you know. So that's my own point, right? So that business will become irrelevant. So people have to just move, with the trend. So thank
All
you.
right, thank
I
you
don't know
so
if
much. Yes, thank you so much. I hear you. Thank you so much. So it's not just about the trend, right? It's
um,
it's basically how it impacts life and measure. But do we think that is something that maybe other? Do we think that is something that other countries should dive in, like China went in head first, or is it something that you think that countries should be wary about how AI is embedded into penetrating, you know, everything? Because according to the deputy director of the International Trade Cooperation Institute under this ministry, they are expecting that's Lin Jian. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Apologies, I'm not Chinese. I don't speak Mandarin. But he says the introduction of AI is expected to break through the bottleneck in service consumption constrained by high labor cost and new standardization. We are rooting for China and we are hoping that other countries look at the benefits of this and begin to adopt it as well. So I cannot wait for maybe when our beloved country, get past basic infrastructure issues maybe in 2050 when AI is gone far. But for now, I personally am rooting for China, and I'm hoping that it's a successful venture as they do that in their everyday life. So we'll be going on to trend number two. Yep, yep. So, um, Gladys, oh my God, oh my goodness, we are missing our co-host.
I guess the
Nigerian
network,
network,
right?
have mercy on. Oh my days. When we have countries that are going into AI, we are still dealing with basic network. Like, how in God's green word are we supposed to handle this now? Right?
Mm.
Now, okay, let's go to the next one. She's not here. In order not to keep it, can we hear me?
Yes, I'm with you. Go
Can you hear
ahead.
me, Iman?
Yes,
Wonderful.
you can go
In order
ahead.
for us not to miss the, yes, in order for us not to miss the opportunity, let's go on to the next one. Now, governments are becoming digital service providers in especially in Europe. For me, that is very, very impressive, right? We have
Mm.
we have situations. This is what a lot of countries are begging for, especially for a more responsive government. And if that's what's happening right now in um, in Europe, that's impressive. Government are digitizing rapidly. But one thing that has become observable, one thing that has become obvious is the fact that even though digitizing is happening, there's still some challenges around governance and accountability. You know, uh, it's matching this particular effort from the government. In, so, what do you think about this, Emmanuel? Do you think that? Can you hear me? Do you think that should
Okay.
governments? Okay, Gladys, please go ahead. You can go ahead, and I was helping you with your session since you were missing.
Okay.
Hello,
You want me
Gladys.
to speak? Okay, that is. Go ahead.
All right, I don't think Gladys can hear as well, but should government service standards match private sector standards, especially as they're now becoming digital service providers, Mr. Emmanuel?
Okay, for me, well, I don't think it's about the government. I think it's about the citizen, right? Because the citizens are not seeing the two categories, right? They're not seeing whether it's coming from the private or it's coming from the government. One thing I just see is they're only seeing one frustration, right? So I'm not saying that government should copy private sector standard, right? Because for a citizen, they can't separate the two sector in their heads, right? Now let me give you an instance. The trouble we go through when you go to the passport, you want to get your passport in the immigration office, right? You know the slow process, or probably what to do it on their site, right? And you experience a very slow process, right? And then comparing it to using your bank app as well, experiencing that same slow process. Well, so to a citizen, it feels exactly the same to them because it's just the same frustration, right? So yes, government needs to catch up. But for me, the bigger issue for me is convenience, right? So it's about whether people keep trusting institutions at all, whether it's public or it's private sector. Because citizens don't see two categories, they only see one frustration, right? Thank you.
I agree with you to a very large extent, but I feel like irrespective of the sector, maybe because of my viewpoint, right? I feel like irrespective of the sector, there should be efficiency in
Yes,
service,
true,
right? Whether public or
true.
private. And I think that why we in Africa or maybe in third world countries feel the way we do
Mm,
is because we are used to very, very poor service delivery, especially even in private sector. So if the AI has matured enough in Europe, or if they have decided to go digital, especially in Europe, then I think it's a welcome development. Again, it still boils down to what's going on in China, right? With
mm,
Chinese, trying to you know, bring AI into the home, right? All around Europe. And I think that government, I personally feel like government service standards should match private sector standards. That's what I think. And I think that the earlier is begins to get adopted across board, the better it is for everyone to be able to, and have a better human experience at the end of the day. That's what I think.
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah, I
using
agree
yes.
with you. I agree with you.
Yes. So thank you so much,
I
Mr.
agree with
Evans.
you. Yes.
Apologies, we are missing our co-host, but she will be back shortly. So let's go to the next trend. I'm so excited. Whenever I'm going through these trends, it makes me very happy. Again, the world is adopting AI. United Kingdom AI has moved from experimentation straight to operations.
Operation.
And we know that when it comes to policies, the United Kingdom, Europe, they're very, very careful. They are very particular about how it impacts humans. And beginning to see these adoptions going on now is very impressive. Welcome back, my beloved co-hosts. The internet service providers are after your life today. Welcome, welcome.
Can, can she hear?
All right, so
I don't know. Are you sure she's hearing me? Okay, okay, yeah.
I think she's hearing me. I hope she's hearing
Okay.
me because I'm already
She's
missing
smiling.
her input already. All right, I cannot wait to hear what she's saying. All right, now in London, right, 17th of June, I think, the adoption of artificial intelligence has reached tipping point in Britain. As companies are moving from experimentation to large scale deployment and they start seeing returns. That's what a Google Cloud executive said on Wednesday. He said that businesses and government bodies that were testing AI tools a year ago are now using them to run more complex processes and improve productivity. Maureen
Mm.
Costello, the vice president for Google Cloud in the United Kingdom, Ireland, and Sub Saharan Africa, said in an interview to Reuters. So you see that now there's already been a practice going on a year ago. A year ago. The question now to you is leadership keeping pace with technological change? Especially I don't know, are they keeping pace with what's going on with the technology? What do you think?
Okay, for me, honestly, for me, I would say no. Right. I would say no, and that's not it's not a knock on leaders, right? It's just the reality,
When you
right?
say no,
So,
right,
what do
when
you
you
say?
say no, right? When you say no, do you mean that it's like, do you mean worldwide?
Okay, well, for okay, let me say it might not be worldwide, but in our own country, I'm using my country as a case study, right? you know
Okay.
so it's a no, right? Technology actually moves on product cycles, right? But when we talk about leadership moves on budget cycle, it moves
Yeah.
on board cycles, so they are two completely different clocks, right? So the leaders who are coping, they are not necessarily the most tech savvy ones, right? So they are the ones who have built a culture where small experiments can happen quietly before they even need any boardroom approval, right? So I believe that we are not keeping pace. The leaders of Nigeria as a case study, they're not really keeping pace, you know, with technology change in Nigeria, you know. But looking at the trends that we read about UK, we saw how they moved from experimentation to operation, which is a good one.
Yes.
But globally, globally, I can't make it generic that everyone is moving, everyone is keeping pace, But for our country, I don't think we are keeping pace yet.
Oh, Nigeria is not in any race at all. We've not even fixed up.
Well,
We've
well,
not even
Africa. Oh, talk about Africa generally. I don't think Africa too is in the race.
You have countries like Kenya and Rwanda, even Botswana, you know,
Wow.
making their mark, right? I can't entirely say the whole of Africa, but I do know that
Okay.
giant of Africa is completely asleep. When London, like that is like home to Europe's largest concentration of tech talent, is seeking to cement its position as a global AI hub. That's what Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, is saying. The reason they are pushing to position Britain, the reason they are doing all this is to position Britain as an AI superpower. Now you can now compare that to China that is taking it into homes.
That's true.
Taking it into homes, But yes, rooting for the success of this implementation, rooting for the
Mm,
success in the United Kingdom, and we are hoping,
mm,
we are hoping that Africa, or even what is it going to? Well, we are going to get into that conversation. I personally cannot wait
yeah.
for us to get into that conversation when we talk about what it will
Mm,
take for Africa to join. Why is it that it's looking like why is it looking like it, when the conversations are going on, Africa is somewhere in the middle. But yes, we'll be rooting for United Kingdom, and we hope that their successful
mm,
move to AI is successful, and they become the AI superpower that they're hoping to be. Right. Moving on to the next trend. Next trend. Okay. Still on AI. There's just a lot of buzz around AI. It's like the world has gone AI
yeah.
crazy. The world has gone AI crazy, like seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in North America, customer service is becoming, AI first, and that's even what led the big giant, Salesforce to even acquire an AI company, named Fin.
Yeah.
So, so now, very soon, we might not be talking to human beings, right? Currently, Intercom is looking to build its AI powered customer service tool. As a customer service person, you must have interacted, every customer experience person and service person must have interacted somewhat with Intercom. It's a tool, CRM tool that has been, around the block. I personally love using um, not as if this is an opportunity to advertise, but I'm a fan of Fresh Desk, Fresh Works. But yes, I'm also very conversant with Intercom. So you see that the world right now is leaning towards that. So do you think that customers will choose speed over human interactions? Do you see that happening?
Okay. Um, well, I think each of them, whether speed, or emotional connection, right? I feel both have their own moments, right? For the small stuff, we know that speed wins every time. Everybody wants things to be achieved quick, 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 right? But if you are working with, let's say you have an issue with your password and you're trying to reset your password, right? Nobody, I don't need your heartfelt conversation to be able to be able to reset my password, right? But when it comes to money, when it comes to health, when it comes to something emotional, right? I feel that speed, we have to take the back seat. You don't need speed at this point, right? You just need to be understood. You just need something at that point, right? So really, this is not about it's not about speed versus human, right? It's just about us knowing exactly where each one belongs in our customer's journey,
Yeah.
right? So, so
Okay,
thank
so you
you.
are saying, in your view, you are saying that the choice of speed will depend on what kind of interaction that is going on. In some
Yes,
incidents where you're just trying to find informations,
mm,
maybe you're on a fact finding mission, speed will be very important. But when it
yes,
has to do with problem solving situations, especially around money and health, which is where the fintech come in, which is around money and
mm,
you see situations where human interactions will still reign supreme, right?
mm,
I think that when it comes to adopting AI first customer service approach, I am not a fan, being that I have tried it and it was very unsuccessful. And I would love at this juncture anybody that comes across our life and who has actually successfully written, an AI first customer service. What were your numbers? Was it successful? Because when I tried to implement completely AI, and back then in 2021, they're using just chatbots, the customer satisfaction scores was dived, right? And it's not necessarily only because our chatbot was not, as efficient as it could be. It was just that it's still, a bot. Still not going to be able to react like human beings. And as soon as I took it up with the comments, chatbot, merged human plus chatbot, the numbers went back up.
Wow.
Yes, human beings are the numbers went back up, and I would defend that anywhere. Like it was a very, very serious matter at the time. I really saw my numbers. I've never gotten below 80% customer satisfaction scores, even on a very bad week. And you and I know that when it comes to fintech, they can be very, very bad weeks where everything just goes
Yeah.
down. Exactly. But thanks to my newly improved chatbot that I bought with some dollars, my numbers were going to 60. I was almost running mad. I was like, where, what's going on? Right? So again, we still go back. I think that it's not a yes, it's not a no. And maybe as
No.
it
Yeah.
unfolds, yes, as it unfolds, right? Maybe we might begin to, AI might get smart enough to begin to interact like human beings. Until then, I
Yeah.
still think that humans still want to talk to human beings,
Very
right?
true.
Exactly. And
Yeah. Right.
taking us to the next trend, a global consumer behavior. Can you believe it? We just spoke about customers still not overlooking human interactions, and the next trend is telling us that customers are beginning to trust AI. Now, let's before we go to the roundtable question, let me ask you, Manu, are you do you trust AI?
Well, to a level, I trust AI, right? You know what AI does is that AI uses the available information, the available data, you have online, right? And then it gives you a very good information. So I trust it to a level, but there's still a place of human where you have to vet some information, right? And be sure that you are getting the correct data so that you will not run on the wrong information, right? And then I think I
Oh,
also
because
learned recently.
remember that disclaimer at the bottom of ChatGPT and Claude. Always fast
Yes,
check.
yes,
ChatGPT can be wrong sometimes. But please go on. Please go on. Okay, so as you were saying, right? I think that the reason why this is beginning to become a global phenomenon right now is because a report published by TechRadar, right? A report published by TechRadar claims that 74% of consumers say they trust personal AI agents more than their best friend.
wow,
Can you imagine that? And
wow, seven,
they would more than their best friend to make purchases on their behalf. So right now, people would rather trust a personal AI agent more than their best friends to make purchases on their behalf, right? This
wow,
survey was done across like 25,000 consumers across 16 countries. And this trend was uncovered concerning tech, revealing that AI is now comparing, negotiating, deciding, and even purchasing on
yes,
behalf of human users. Very interesting. I would really love to deep dive more into this. When I came across this report, I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. One of the sad thing about staying in a place like here is sometimes, if you are not international, if you are not intentionally deliberate, you might not get, you might not know what is
yeah,
going on out there. But yes,
true,
people are still trying to get past around here. And the reason why we talk about around here, specifically in Nigeria, is because we are still around the whole customer service complete resolution. Meanwhile, in other countries, they are even allowing, AI agents to negotiate deals, reorder
mm,
products and even manage subscription renewals right now, right? So why would we think, why would that be a thing? What do you think would make people now begin to trust AI agents for consumerism now more than ever? What do you think could inspire that?
well, this particular trend, then,
Yeah,
this particular trend is actually is quietly changing who the actual customer is, right?
yeah,
Imagine if your AI assistant is the one comparing your prices, is the one shortlisting options for you, right? Then your real audience isn't human anymore. Is the agent acting on your behalf, right? So, and you know that so many brands, they've spent so many years, learning how to be noticed by people, right? So now
yeah,
you need to start learning afresh how to be noticed by these machines, right? These AI tools, right?
Okay.
acting on behalf of people, right? And almost nobody is thinking about that yet, right? So I think it's a direction that people should start looking at, right? And see how they can also harness that space, to see how they can, get noticed by by machines and AI assistants too. All right. Thank you.
So, like, would you, Mr. Emmanuel, trust your AI? Would you have an AI agent, and would you trust them enough to make negotiations for on your behalf?
Well, trust, when we talk about trust, it starts from people's positive reviews, right? If we have positive reviews from people, you know, it can also build trust as well. So if we have people that have used it and we've seen their experiences, we've seen the positive feedbacks, and also I can actually trust. But when imagine you want to go to Play Store, right, and you want to download something, and you first go to the review and you see somebody comment that don't download this thing, they took my money, this. You won't bother installing that kind of app on your phone, right? So I feel that to build trust, to use AI assistant or AI agent, right, it begins from positive feedback, right? Thank you.
Okay, I think that for me, I'm very experimental when it comes to service. If I see anything that is new and I have access to trying it, I am trying it, right? But the Nigerian in me has a problem with somebody buying on my behalf. The Nigerian in me, we don't want a situation whereby I send my AI agent to buy, let's say, something worth, let's say, 2,000 naira, and then before you know, I'm seeing that bank alert, debit. Because somebody figured out a way to get my AI agents to also buy him stuff. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's
Um,
just trust issues here and there. But I mean, we already know. We already know how it is. But yes, I would totally want to give it a try. I'm going to deep dive more into this trend and see how I can, try it out. Um, if not here, maybe outside there, or maybe anyhow. But I think it's something interesting that I would like to work with and see how it goes. Right. Speaking of which, while the 74% of the world of a certain survey want AI, um, trust AI more than their best friend, we are still getting a warning that people still
mm,
want human service. Like, what's going on in the world right now? Like, why is there
sorry, I think I lost you for like 5 seconds.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can now.
Welcome. I lost you for a second. I think it's my network, but thank goodness for that.
Mm,
Okay. All right. So the world is in one hand saying, oh, they can trust the AI agents to shop for them. And in another hand, um, someone says that, oh, no customer or user wakes up and says, I hope I get to talk to a chatbot or an AI agent today, right? In another survey concluded and was published on the same Tech Radar 2 days ago, he also says that um, even though AI is impacting and people are getting better, with using AI, some customers still are beginning to have like bot fatigue, right? Consumers want real human sources. And I'm conflicted for a moment because so there's the people who trust AI more than their friends, best friends, and then there's those who already have been bot fatigue. Like they feel like they're interacting much more with AI and they want more human interactions as well,
mm,
right? So it's amazing that there's a lot of contradictions in the world, and it says that right now it is usually the brands that will go further and be more successful with humans in the upcoming
mm,
years are those that still have that human feel, right? Because consumers are fed up with AI. You know, they don't feel like AI is an advantage that businesses should shout about because they would much rather have better experiences without the constant reminders, right? So you
Mm,
that's what Gladys was saying earlier, that consumers want to have these experiences, but they don't want the whole concept of AI shoved down their throat. So it's more of like having that smooth experience without having to figure out, is this AI, is this human? As the case may be. I think that's what consumers were talking about on Tech Radar, right? So, which brings us to this
yeah.
question. Oh, Gladys, our beloved co-host, is here. Which brings us to
Rock
this
on.
question. Gladys, I'm sorry, but I think at this juncture, even your network would need AI. Your network would need AI for you to be better. But yes, um, good to have you back, right? So we had spoken about various other trends before now. The last segment before you came in, we spoke about how 74% of consumers claim that they would trust their AI agent for shopping more than their best friends, right? And then we are now here to this trend, which is saying that people still want human service. So now the question is, can service excellence exist without genuine human connection? Do you think so, Gladys? We'd love to hear from you.
Okay, so the thing with, I think for this question, AI does not determine AI the metrics for
Sorry, I
itself.
think she's muted. I can't hear.
No, I'm not muted now. Can you
I
hear
can
me?
hear her.
Okay.
Okay.
So
All right.
service excellence being a metric is not defined by AI. Somebody defines it. Somebody defines the parameter, a human being. So we're the one that define it. And I think you were asking a question about how we adopt AI. Now we adopt AI for asking questions because we tested it before and it worked, right? AI is test, it works, I use. If it works, I use. If you don't work, it's like having an intern. You're an intern. I use you with supervision. We work. All of a sudden, you get better at it. Same way your AI now has so much more context about your personality that you can ask questions and it will give you a context filled response, right? That is how AI is working. They're improving the system. You keep that people are testing it, and then they'll tell you that how I say it, the meeting reading, the note taking apps today, the note taking AI, they're all AI, and we adopt them because somebody has done, people have done the experiments, and now it's part of operational systems. So I believe
Like
every AI system
fireflies.
is going through this phase. Yes. Now we don't ask any questions of how it does what it does. We don't not trust them. We trust them because they've gone from experimentation to operations. All AI models, they go through that whole thing. So definitely you get to a point where you adopt AI for even the thing you don't want to think. You might say, oh, maybe you will not trust AI to recommend medications for you, but you trust it to ask you where to get some certain medications. What you know you can trust it with, what you're comfortable with, and what you know it has worked for. So we're definitely going to get there. But then who is going to define if AI is working or not? It's still humans. The person that set up the system, the operators, and then the customer. If customers in a firm now say AI isn't working for them, like the case with Child Deck use AI. People were like, oh, customers were like, it's not working for us. If customers did not complain, I'm sure they would have still continued with what they were working with. So humans, both on the customer end and the other end, humans define the milestone, humans define the goal of success. That is what AI is working for. So it can't happen without humans, no matter what. Yes.
Okay, I
The
love your perspective, Gladys. That perspective
also
is very.
not just because humans like teach, not just because humans teach or measure the system. Yes, not just because humans measure the system, because humans also teach the system. We teach it how to make contextual decision making. So kind of at some point you chat with your chat GPI and you're like, girl, you know what I would do in this situation. Talk to me. Because you have taught it to think, you have taught it to operate. So
Yeah.
I mean, we teach it, we measure it, we use it, test it, and then we run with it. Yeah.
Okay, Emmanuel, do you agree that there's no service excellence without the human connection, or do you have a different opinion?
Okay. Sorry, I can only hear you. I didn't hear all she said. Right? Maybe you can just summarize.
Okay,
But I'm
so
hearing you
she's.
clearly. But I didn't hear Gladys at all.
Oh, apologies for that, right? So she's of the
Can you
opinion that,
summarize?
yeah. But Gladys, can you hear Emmanuel? Okay. Now, she's of the opinion that there's no service excellence without the human connection, because because that's humans, because at the end of the day, it is humans that will measure, what would be used to, give excellent service. And she thinks that until there has to be that human thing, there has to be a human being for service excellence to even thrive at the end of the day, right? So that's her opinion. So do you have a different opinion to that in summary, or do you
Yeah, I think I
agree
agree
with
with
her?
her. I agree with her, right? There can be I feel that though you can be efficient without without connection, right? And you can be very fast without it. But for excellence, when we talk about excellence, right? Efficiency is not the same as excellence. Let's maybe that's my own belief anyway, right? But when we talk about efficiency, it's not the same as being excellent, right? But for human, if we wish, I believe that we should have a human touch in everything for us to have excellence, right? Imagine the way a friend of yours, puts your personal brand on his or her head, right? Telling people about it. You see that kind of connection. You know, AI can't do that. AI will just tell you that this is what we sell, these are products, these are services, this. So but when a friend of mine does that, it's a different connection entirely. The way God created man and he gave us his soul so that we can always have connections. That emotional connection has to be there. That's what makes us first human, right? So I believe that um, service excellence can exist, can't exist without genuine human connection. Thank you. So I agree with her.
All right, thank you so much for that. I think that I personally am still in the department of those who would love human connection. I advocate for that. But do I feel like there would always be something like that would get better as it goes? Yes. However,
Yeah.
I know that with the way the world is going now, with the whole self thinking, I see this it might begin to start pushing a lot of mental health related issues because human connections are great for, managing of, experiences, how you feel. But I think that yes, um, human beings, we can we can actually have service excellence, right? Especially when there's a well strategically designed customer journey map, right? But at the end of the day, like Gladys said, it still would take a human being to be able to design that and maintain the integrity of that system. I don't know if that makes any sense. You
Very
know,
true.
that's it will still take a human, right? But in this
Mhm.
incidents right now, I think that we can achieve service excellence without connecting to a human, depending on the journey flow. However, what would make the customers the way the customers feel, customer experience is dependent on the customers. If the customers feel like they were craving some form of human connection, even if it's very, very minute or little, then you may will not be able to say, oh, that customer had a fantastic experience with your business, even though everything is technically textbook fantastic, right?
Mhm.
Again, I would love I that's why in Service Cultural Academy for the past few months we've been helping businesses to have that handshake between their tools, their automation tools, their AI or whatever or tech, and then the humans. We've been helping businesses that want to be very intentional about that to do that because it would help to boost the experience of the customer. So thank you guys for joining and commenting on that. Now we're going to the next trend. Gladys, welcome back. I would love you to handle this, but I don't know if Emmanuel can hear you. But please go ahead and try handling trend seven. Hopefully, he'll be able to hear you now.
Hi, can you hear me? Hello, Emmanuel, can you hear me? Priscilla, can you hear me?
Emmanuel, can you hear her? She's talking.
Hello.
No, I
Holy
can only hear
smokes. Is
you.
that even possible? Is that even
At this point,
possible?
they don't want me and Emmanuel to be friends.
I
At this point, they
have
don't
no
want me and Emmanuel
idea
to be
why
friends.
at all. Mr.
I'm hearing
Emmanuel,
you
so glad you
clearly.
could say,
It's just Gladys. It's just I'm just seeing a gesticulation, but I'm not hearing her. So,
oh my days, that's so sad. That's so sad. Um,
well, I
Gladys,
believe
could
you
you go
can
out and come back
summarize
in?
once
So
she's
maybe
done.
you'll be able to
Okay, maybe she
have
can
me
just
Yes,
join
let
again.
me try.
again. Yes.
Yes.
Let me try that.
Please kindly go out and yes, let's see how that goes. All right. Now we are on to air travel. Oh my goodness. It's one of my favorite form of travels, air travel. I know everybody wants to have a sightseeing. I don't know. Everybody wants to see the inlands and the landscapes. I want to just sit down, something that just takes me 20 minutes or 45 minutes max, and I'm there. So it's one of my favorite forms of travel. So now we are seeing that in traveling, in air travel right now, we are beginning to see a trend in air travel, right? And I don't know if you've noticed that as well, right? Have you noticed that, Mr. Emmanuel? Experience is now becoming a thing worldwide in air travel right now, right? We saw the mishap we've been having for those of us in Nigeria here. Can you hear me, Emmanuel?
Yes, I'm with you
Good.
clearly.
In Nigeria, we've had a couple of mishaps in our air travel with passengers having very terrible experience. We had from when a very popular musician went to stand in front of us, the airplane, and didn't want the airplane to move, to the lady that was almost that was actually stripped um, to her um, almost naked, because of an altercation she had with an air host. We've had full-on fights within the popular VDM and some other young man in airplanes. It's been a whole lot of brouhaha for those of us here in Nigeria, but in the world,
Mm,
other climes we have experience becoming very important, even much more than transportation. And right now, there is even something called the Airline Passenger Experience Association, and they even have an award. It has been announced for 2026. It will be recognizing top performing carriers for exceptional customer care and um, to be for exceptional customer care would have and all that. I think that some have already been rated. I think that Korean Air was rated for best cabin service. Emirates was rated for global award. Actually, this is a global award. Korean Air was globally recognized for best cabin service. We have Emirates that was recognized for best entertainment. We have food and beverage for Qatar Airways. So if you are someone that likes to munch in your flights, you might want to be booking Qatar Airways because they got global award for best food and beverage. Then you have Eva Air for best seat comfort. For those of us who like to, who don't care about food, who do not care about customer,
Special
about the
legs.
service. Yes, you just want to chillax until you get to where you're going to consider Ever Air. And then you have Delta Airlines for best Wi-Fi. Can you imagine? That will not
mm,
be me because I cannot
Mhm.
read in transit. So it's definitely not me. For me, it's definitely seat comfort. I can do without food for sure. So best seat comfort would be my thing. So maybe, just maybe Ever Air if I'm traveling somewhere. But yes, you see that now air travelers are beginning to rate experience more. So now the question now would be is do we think that experience is now more valuable than the product itself? That's the air travel itself. Do we if you were to rate, would you which would you rate better? And I would love to hear from you, Emmanuel, first before Gladys would speak.
okay, thank you. So now looking at comparing experience to the product, right? Well, I believe that when the product is the same, right, experience is the only thing left to compete on. Okay. Now I see this constantly with SMEs. Yeah, right. So I you have two business owners that are selling exactly the same item, at the same price. But you have one that will make you feel something, you know, that will make you feel something different from the other person. And you will see that that same person is still in business for years, right? So that's what I mean by experience. Let me share an example of one I had with a customer, right? So I go to the market, the way my wife should just call and say, yeah, please, when you're on your way, please buy. They will ask politely to, they will send you to the market politely, right? The way you the ladies do. And whenever I'm coming from the office, I will just, since the market is, I will drive past the market, right? I will just get the tomatoes, pepper, and every other things that we would need for the house. And there is this particular customer that I usually buy from, although she's not my main customer, but I buy randomly from the market. We men, we don't have customers. Anywhere we see the closest place, that's where we buy from, regardless of the price, right? So, and there was this day I didn't go to the market for a while, because I think my wife gave birth at that period, and we had somebody run errands for us close by the house and
Congratulations.
all. And I think after 3 months, I had to go to the market again. So there was this particular woman I met selling pepper and tomatoes. I told her that she just told me, she was like, customer, long time, oh, where have you been? I've not seen you for a while. Oh, all is well, this. you know. So I was like, sorry, oh, I've been doing that this duty at Togo. My wife gave me a few weeks ago. This. She was like, wow, that's good. That's a congratulations. And then she opened her purse and gave me 2,000 naira. I was like, he said this money is for the baby. Oh, please give the baby. I don't know this woman from anywhere, right? But because of that thing she did, that experience I had with her, right? I became very loyal to her. I don't go to any other place again. She became my loyal. I became a loyal customer.
She bought your loyalty for 2,000
I be,
naira. Great.
honestly, I became a loyal customer to her. Whenever I want to go to, we have a lot of them selling at the same place. But that experience I had with her, you know, made me to always go and buy from her every time. I don't go any other vendor to buy tomatoes and pepper and every other thing, right? So experience matters, right? Experience matters because that's what will make you stand out. That's what will make your business sustainable, right? As a business person, I'm speaking from the perspective of a consultant now, right? So for every SME business, what makes you stand out most is not about the price, right? Most times it's about the experience. I've seen a customer or a vendor that knows everything about the customers, that knows the number of children, that knows the one asked a lady that are your children as if in primary school, that kind of experience you have. So that thing will never leave you, right? And it will also make them to also recommend people to your business, you know. So I feel that aside the product, you may have 10 people selling the same product, but what will make one of them stand out is the experience they have, with customers. Thank you.
All right. That's amazing. I don't know if beloved Gladys can hear me. Gladys, can you hear? Did you hear anything Emmanuel said?
Yes, I heard about how they won him over.
Emmanuel, could you hear? Can you hear her now? Holy
No.
smokes! Now this is very, very serious. But please, Gladys, kindly share your opinion on this, right? Now
Okay,
that air
so I
travel
think
experience is becoming important, do you agree with that? Do you think that it should be more important than even the travel itself?
it's not more important than travel itself because it would not exist if not for the travel itself. We would not be having conversations about any of the other perks if not for the travel itself. So the travel itself is the basic. The travel itself and delivering the service you're meant to, right, is the basic. The extra, how you make people feel, now that's your cherry on top of it. How you make people feel, because most of this is, it's not like you buy an airplane and it comes with all these specs. If it came with all these specs, they'll just all be bare minimum, and we know that any, maybe if you dance for us is the spec, but the the product itself is a bare minimum. If you're not doing it, then we will not have any experience, we don't have any conversation about it. But experience matters. Experience matters. I saw when you were listing the ranking, me, I would go for comfortable seats and I would go for Wi-Fi because I would be reading. I can engross myself in a novel. And I think the perks matter to different people. Like somebody that people that have like a flight for flying, if they could be distracted by Spotify, a movie. That's why sometimes you see people traveling with their kids, they tend to put their kids, give them earmuffs and give them a tablet to play games, stay busy so you don't notice the difference when you're landing, when you're whatever. So those specs, the experience is great, but it would not exist if not for the product itself. And yeah, the
Wonderful.
experience is great. Always recommend, build on your experience, whatever ways
Wonderful.
you can do it. And also on experience, comfortable seats are basics, right? Except you want to give me like two people seat portion. Comfortable seats are basic. There are some things that are basic, and then there are some things that are extra, right?
What would be
Try to
extra
make
to
sure.
you? What would be extra to you as a
Um,
passenger?
Maybe Wi-Fi, because I know that in most airlines you're not using your phone on the flights,
Okay.
right? So that,
Okay.
and maybe instead of giving me bottled water, you're not sharing mineral and food on a like economy class whatever. I know it's extra. So
Yes.
that extra service you're doing, let the basic work, and the quality or the mode of delivery of the extra. You cannot do Wi-Fi and then you have rude people handling it. So a lot of things in the service that you have to put into consideration: the product, how it is delivered, the manner of it, and then these extra perks, which are they are great. But if you don't have a plane, nobody will care about your extra perks. And if your service delivery is not great, it's shitty. Nobody will care. I will not go for. I will not find comfortable seats for a flight where somebody will be screaming at me or being rude to me, a service person, or where the seat will be so tight. I don't know. I would not go for perks when service delivery methods are not okay. They are not convenient. They are not seamless. I'm not getting the product. Imagine going to an airport because I just want to use their Wi-Fi, and I'll pay for flights that don't exist. Ah,
Well. I agree with you. I agree with you. And I think that again, irrespective of whatever metrics that these businesses come up with to be able to claim that they're efficient or they're awesome, passenger feedback remains one of the clearest indicators of how good you're doing. And I'm not just the only person saying it. The group CEO for the Airline Passenger Experience Association, as well as multiple professionals out there in the world, agree with me. It says that passenger feedback remains one of the clearest indicators of how airlines are delivering on the experience travelers value most. And to be honest, there's something about air travel, if it's not well done, it can be extremely, extremely stressful, as the case may be. So, yes, kudos to every single airline operator that won a global award. That's very brilliant. That's amazing. And we're hoping that other airlines enter into this conversation and help make air travel, a very good experience for the passengers, right? So we're moving on to the next slide, workforce transformation. Can you hear me? Gladys?
yes, I can
Gladys,
hear
are you
you.
there?
Though I lost you for a minute.
Fantastic.
Hello?
Yes, fantastic. So now there's a challenge as companies are integrating AI and are hiring fewer employees, right? There's a shift towards the gig economy right now. So now in 2024, I don't know if we know about Klarna. We know about the Klarna company, right? Buy now, pay later company. I used to work in a buy now, pay later company in Nigeria, so we were always tracking Klarna. They're like our our competitors out there. So yes, I know Klarna in a very, very serious way. So it announced in 2024, it announced that it would cut hundreds of customer service roles and begin using an artificial intelligence AI chatbot instead. Yes, this move was expected to save the company millions, but just a year later, after customers complained about the degraded quality of customer service, Klarna began to quietly recruit human customer service agents back. Exactly what I said earlier. Recall when I said this, Emmanuel? Recall when I had this experience personally, and that's why till date I would die on that hill. Nobody would tell me that a fully blown customer service company department AI is gonna work for customers. You will just see your customer satisfaction scores go down the it will go down, right? So now we are now looking at people beginning to use, especially in this upgrade of AI. You have AI agents here and there and everywhere, right? We are having the gigification of service work, right? Mr. Emmanuel, do you think, especially now at first glance, it's beginning to look like it's a victory for human workers in the age of AI, right? Where even though AI is much more efficient, people still crave human interactions, right? But do you think that um, organizations can deliver world class service with a temporary workforce? Do you think that? Now you can give scenarios, and that would be great. But do you think that?
Yes, it is. It's actually possible, right? It's actually possible. Although it can be hard, right? It can be tough, but I believe that it's possible, right, for organizations to deliver world-class service, with temporary staff. What we have today, looking at the trends of technology, what we have today, we have some people using that word. I have 2 gig, I have a gig, I just got a gig. Gig is the trending slogan or slang, right? It's a trending word for now, which is good, right? And I believe that organizations can deliver world-class service, using temporary staff, right? So it still boils down to, when we talk about service excellence, right, it comes from institutional memory, right? Now it's having this memory, knowing your repeat customers, having the edge cases, the little unwritten rule of your brand, right? But when you have a gig workforce, for example, they do not build that memory naturally in one person, so you are the one as an organization that will need to engineer it into your systems and training instead, right? And it should be something that companies should not skip, right? To avoid customer complaints here and there, right? So it has to reflect in the culture, it has to reflect in the way you onboard, knowledge transfer and all, right? So the way you are doing it for the permanent staff, it should be the same way you should do for every temporary staff as well. So there should be a uniform culture, right? Same way you treat the temporary and the permanent ones, right? So I think that's what that's how it can be possible. Though it's tough, as I said earlier, but it's very, very possible. Very possible. Very possible.
Okay, we are seeing situations whereby, thanks to the gigification of service work right now, we are having situation whereby people would become like Uber drivers in the morning and then be a customer service agent in the evening, and that's beginning to become a trend. And do you? I see. I don't know if there's been a lot of success in that. Now, let me say we use all these temporary gigs, right, as for example, right now, especially around service work, right? Where people run shifts, maybe work today, they don't work tomorrow, and then compared to when they used to be like full time work, do, do we see success in service related works? Like, I mean, in your experience, what do you think? I mean, do you not see how this whole gig thingy is actually affecting service work? Do you
Yeah,
see
it's
that?
actually affecting it. It's actually affecting it. In fact, it's affecting the efficiency because you can't be efficient doing multiple gig, right? I have a brother, my younger brother. He works from home, right? But he has 3 gig with 3 different companies, right? And he works all through the day. He works with international companies. Yeah, and the time lag, right? So their own 1 p.m. is our own maybe 10 p.m. So you have to work with their time. So he works around the clock, and for that kind of person, you can't expect excellent service. You can't expect a good service excellence from there. So I feel that it would definitely affect um, companies, right? But it can be managed. It's possible, but it can be managed. Looking at the situation of this country, basically Nigeria, everybody wants multiple streams of income, right?
And
And
it's not just
as
in
long as
Nigeria. told, it's a global phenomenon right now. You know,
Yes,
it's
yes.
come to with businesses like DoorDash. I remember I had an American friend who was a very serious DoorDasher around the 2020 pandemic. He started doing it before the 2020 pandemic, right? And during the pandemic, it kind of restricted a lot. Then you have Ubers, you have some other. Truth be told, AI and the emerging of tech is actually gigifying the whole service work right now, where all you have to do is just log in wherever you are and you know and all. But I hear you. I hear you that all those. I'm actually excited for the future of work as it were, because the only way you can adopt new trends is when your mind is open, to
Mm,
what's going on, right? But I see success when it comes to the incomes of those involved, and I see recall when one CEO of Money Point complained about the quality of workers.
yeah.
Yeah, and it was a whole conversation, right? What we are seeing is the whole gigification situation where even permanent work is now becoming temporary work. Permanent on paper,
Mm,
temporary in real life, right? It could be a thing of success. It could be a thing of failure. I think it just depends completely on how the company is involved and the professionals involved are handling it with a good system. Gladys, are you here?
Hi,
Hello,
can you hear me?
Gladys. Yes.
Hi,
Emmanuel,
can
can
you
you
hear
hear
me?
me
Okay,
now?
great.
Fantastic.
I,
So I don't know what and where you missed, right? I don't know where and where you missed, but we're talking about the gigification of service work, right? Where while AI is being applauded, right, for making work easy. There's also something that is going on right now, right, where most of the jobs are now becoming gigs. Where most of the jobs are becoming gigs right now, right? And can
I
you hear
think
me?
I don't know. I don't know
yes,
where
I am with
what you
you.
guys have said about it. Like I know that.
But please go on,
Can you
share
hear
your own
me?
opinion. It's just as our opinion we shared, but you can share yours, Gladys.
Okay, so on one end, I believe that service excellence and short-term work, they are not so feasible because say you're working in a hospital, the nurse that attended to you on Monday, then when somebody comes on Friday, she might ask the same questions. But then people have built-in processes like handovers, like notes, even in CX. If there's that smooth handover, it works. But that relationship factor, not everyone, people like the places people go to that they enjoy. Let's say, for example, the person that won over Mr. Emmanuel, if he goes there another day and there's another face, even if that person is kind, it may not be the same experience and feeling for him. He may not be as loyal anymore, right? So there's that relationship factor, even if you want to have perfect operation. So I don't think service people roles should be short term. The gigification of roles, I have a very different opinion for that because it's not healthy for customers. It's a misperception, I mean misconception, where companies think it is healthy for them because companies are looking to onboard people to support them without taking full responsibility for that talent. If you're a freelance gig person, you won't have HMO, you won't have certain benefits, you just have your salary and go. So it looks like a cheaper deal for them. And companies are always looking to save money in the wrong ways, which is sad. So when you're looking to save money, you're costing something else, but you don't see it. I think this is something employee experience and CX experience is something that companies have not seen how both of them are intertwined and so much enough. But yeah, gamification is companies just trying to be smart, but not looking into it like on different levels and in the best way. Because I worked in a hospital, and if you just like Mr. Emmanuel, he went somewhere, he's loyal to a business because of one person's face, one person. And normally in CX, we always build systems the way that customers will not be looking for, oh, anytime they come, they're not always looking for Priscilla, they're not always looking for Amaka, anybody can help you. But still, the part of human connection, people don't connect to 100 people the same way. So they'll connect to one person and then you change that person. And that's why there's also a fear that when companies have in their contract that when you leave their company, you shouldn't go to a competitor because your personality and relationship might follow you. It happens a lot. They know it. They know the power of human connection. I don't know why they are playing these games. It's capitalism games, but yeah, it's not healthy for your business. It's not healthy for the long term. It's not healthy for customers. But you think it is good for you because it's saving you. It's saving you surface level costs, not like it's not saving you good costs. Just on the surface level, it looks good, but it's costing you a lot. So I'm not down. I'm not for it. But then,
Okay, I think
personally,
I agree. Human Rights
yeah.
Watch, Human Rights Watch actually agrees with you, right? There's a report from the Human Rights Watch that says that there are consequences of this gigification on a global scale, noting how gig work has stripped workers of basic worker protections like minimum wage, like workers' compensation, like or control over the hours, all while returning record profits to businesses. And while workers are being told that their own bosses, platforms exert immense control over their work, including using algorithms to assign tasks, set pay rates, and even evaluate work performances. So several delivery partners in the Human Rights Watch report described getting into car accidents and not having to foot their medical bills from their pockets because they had no access to workers' compensation. Right? Now, all these things, all these rights are the rights that our forefathers and our great grandfathers fought for. Next to the gamification of our service work is gradually dying, and we are like trading all those in for this, right? And that's a huge source of concern with giving world class service, using temporary workforce. I don't know how that's going to work, but I see a major I see major challenges. I think there should be a balance, you know, be my own boss that does not have health plan, boss that does not have, this that's what the Human Rights Watch is talking about. So yes, Gladys, it agrees with you completely on that. And now, thankfully, Mr. Emmanuel was able to hear you. I was able to hear you loud and clear. So we'll be going on to the next segment, which is Africa Service Opportunity, right? Gladys, please, would love you to host that. Can you hear me?
Oh, hi. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm not with the okay because I'm not with my system, so I don't
Okay. Let me handle
Yeah.
that. You just probably handle the question inside, right? Now, I think that we should position Africa as an opportunity continent. Africa has one of the youngest population worldwide, and there's a lot of labor world in Africa when it comes to, but the quality of the labor is another conversation we will delve into some other time. You know, we've seen throughout the course of the trend for the throughout from last week to this today, or rather yesterday, is that developed economies are now redesigning, their legacy systems around AI, right? And while many African countries are still building service systems. So for me, I think that we think that it can, leapfrog directly, it can leapfrog directly, into sustainable progress for Africa. I mean, if you look at the observation as clearly stated on our screen, you see that Africa can do a lot. We are just trying to catch up, right? So we can, I mean, we have very good mobile money innovations in Africa. If you interact with people out there, you would know that our mobile money is interesting, right? We have a very fast and responsive money transfer services, right? So do you think Africa can leapfrog directly, into AI-enabled service models without, decades of legacy infrastructure? I mean, we already have these things in play right now. We have the mobile money innovations, we have digital identity programs, we have AI-enabled education ongoing right now in Africa. We have telemedicine. I would know that because yes, I did help, with a medical outreach program where we used telemedicine, and that's the Roadvival Foundation, yes, they used telemedicine, and that was impressive because customers would tell on the phone, call on the line, and they would speak to someone, and they would prescribe medicines for them. And I think that we already have a company in Africa, the one we worked with, um, that actually handled that right now. We also have citizen service platforms as well that are also, helping, with this. So what we need to know now is, do we think that Africa can become the world's laboratory for next generation service delivery? Do you think we have the infrastructure? Do you think that we can, let's say, if the infrastructure is fixed, to become the next service delivery um, lab lab? Instead of just recall the situation where we're always being used for testing vaccines, for testing vaccines. So can we be used, for to test next generation service delivery? Um, Gladys, please, I would like you to anchor this.
Okay, so I would like to say we can be used. Why? Because we have stellar talents that go to different countries and do stellar things. Now, the issue with being the next place for opportunity is, say you have a remote job now. Do you think you would still have that remote job in the next 2 months, maintain it and all? We do not have the infrastructure for it. I feel like we shouldn't jump the gun or put the cat before the horse or whatever is the case, because you would need infrastructure to move to take to optimize on opportunities that come. Say you want to do AI now. Other countries are building data centers. They have data management centers that are helping make these AI dreams a reality for them. We don't even have light. How will a data center be maintained? Now, before we talk about services across different industries. We don't even have places that are doing medical treatment research. Like Priscilla, let's leave the things that we know that we work in. Let's talk about in medicine. Is there something that will be like, oh, this invention in medical research came out from Nigeria? This globally accepted? No. Because the thing with science is when something is done once, they have to test it 10 times before they do it all over again. But then something being done once has to be done in a very it has to be done in a conducive environment. We do not have that conducive environment. So if we want to take something and the world should accept it, instead of testing it 5 to 10 times as they would, they will have to test it like 20 to 25 times, because you're coming from a non-conducive environment. So your research may just be hearsay in their eyes, right? Is a lot. There's a lot that infrastructure is costing us. We can't do research. We can't do a lot of things. Hospitals still don't have lights. We cannot even keep babies in NICU. We can't keep babies. We can't keep people on life support. And if you can't do all these things, you cannot. The thing with opportunity and innovation means is that it takes research, it takes study. You don't have the soil that would make these things germinate, that will make curious minds bloom, that will make hardworking minds bloom. So I personally, it's not going to happen. If Nigeria, even with all the things, the funny thing is that investors are leaving Nigeria because we do not have the infrastructure to hold them. And if foreign investors come in, we have government policies. The government is not helping you improve the infrastructure, but they will help you with frustration policies that will make you not work. Companies have left Nigeria because policies make them not work. So if a company now wants to come to Nigeria, okay, I want to offer the solution to your infrastructure problems. Say Starlink, they can't do that in isolation, and it won't still work, because even Starlink here, we still have talents leaving the country. There's so much other things, gaps. If Starlink was the only solution, the only problem people would not Japan. I will just buy the network, buy Starlink and rest. But then they leave because there are so many other things that work together. So many other things. So I think there's a segment that I know network company of, if you be asked if government agencies should be checked like private. Yes, private exists because they have KPIs. They are accountable to the people. They are accountable for something, but you are not. You take this fund, we don't see this result. We never see anything, and that is why, and that is costing us so much. If we see something, you see how GTB now they'll give their dividend report. You know if they did well or not. If you have shares in GTB, you can go and hold them. If you are not doing well, I want my money back. You're doing well, I want blah blah. But government, you can't, and that is why we don't get anything, because we cannot hold them accountable. They are not accountable. We cannot get anything. And because we cannot get anything, no opportunity can work. See the time that our government was sending notices to Meta and all those other things that, oh, come and pay your tax. They want to bill them for having customers here. There are so many other opportunistic conversations you can have with them. Oh, let's do a talent collaboration. Oh, let's do this. But all you thought about is tax them. Can you see how the conversations go? So somehow we're just in a very selfish space. We can't. It is very bad that we should talk about optimizing opportunity being the opportunity landmark of the world. The world knows us. They know us. Trust me, we top Europe in talents. They know us. But if you do not have the infrastructure to it, you cannot build on your curiosity. If you don't have the infrastructure, you cannot learn. Somebody that our YX students cannot beat a SAT entrance examination. That's to tell you how infrastructure is not even improving our education. It's not improving anything. How do you want to fight Europe? That's what Europe has over you. A better life, at the very least. Surely, surely. So sometimes when I hear
So
conversations,
are you saying that we don't even have what it takes to even become a lab in the first place? That's what you're saying, correct?
as a science student that did have year project on breast cancer, we do not have this. We do not have the infrastructure to have a lab. We don't have a lab. Okay, the same way somebody died because there was no MRI in a city, that's how things are scarce. If you check it, how many MRIs do we have in Nigeria? How many labs do we have doing certain research in this and that and that? Currently, we don't have a lot of things, and we don't have a lab. Who is doing medical research in Nigeria? If they are doing it, it's on let's say all these agbo levels. It's on, or even if they are doing it
But
better than agbo,
you do
it's
realize,
on
Gladys, let
unfunded
me
level.
put it. Gladys, let me button. You do realize that, yes, maybe Nigeria may have challenges, maybe Congo may have challenges, maybe Uganda may have challenges, but we have some upcoming African countries that are trying. We have Ghana, that's for sure. We have
Yeah.
um, Botswana, we have Rwanda, we have Kenya. They're all, you know, trying. I mean, it doesn't have to be in Nigeria, but the thing
It
that,
doesn't have to be Nigeria, but these countries
yeah,
still have policies that restrain them from things. If
okay.
Nigeria is the giant of Africa by population, let's say you occupy 40% of the Nigerian continent, African continent, there's problem already with your own problems. And all these other countries have their own political roadblocks that are affecting intricate things about policies. Like in Rwanda now, if you want to relocate to Rwanda, they say there are no jobs there mostly except for NGOs. So they have an employment issue down there. If you're going there, people that Japan there now, they know that you have to have a remote job because there's nothing on ground there for you. So other countries to have their own structural problem, politically inclined relative problems. That's the issue. All these problems together keep us down. It keeps us down beyond it. And yeah, so many times you hear of amazing talents that do some amazing things. Like you see a child that built something in a Nigerian place, nobody is funding it. It happens in other parts of the world. How many inventions have you heard that grew out of Ghana, grew out of Botswana? Okay, they have lights, but they don't have systems that support curiosity. They don't have systems that support curiosity. Do you get? That's the thing. If you don't have systems and infrastructure that support curiosity, no innovation will come out of here. You will stay on the norms. And that's the crippling thing about the reality we're at, unfortunately. So hopefully, we are hoping our government, because if everybody is willing to do service and they don't have the tools, no service will be done. We'll just be fighting a vain war. Let's say you're ready to go to war and they don't give you tools, you just go with your two hands to go and fight war where other people are carrying guns and armors and everything. You're going to fight, you're going to die. And that's the situation of every person that is getting remote global jobs now. It's as if you're signing up to die because you'll be embarrassed, just like you're being embarrassed on this call, buffering network, picking us up and everything. You will be embarrassed out of your life. But we do hope for a better tomorrow. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for your very, very passionate response to this. I would love to hear what Mr. Emmanuel has to say about this, really.
Okay, thank you. Um, Sorry, I did not. I didn't hear. Uh, it was coming. I don't know what's happening. To maybe our network or my network. But I'm
Our
hearing,
network is quarreling with your network.
but I'm hearing Priscilla clearly and it's very clear, So, but I think I heard her say that she, that we do not, Africa does not have the weight, right? You know, I don't know if I'm correct. We don't have the weight. So, but I genuinely believe this, right? I believe that um, maybe when we talk about legacy infrastructure, we know that one of the barriers to innovation is legacy infrastructure, right? When we talk about looking at the mature market, so and before you can build something, you have to bring something down. You have to tear something down before you can build something. But we don't have that weight. But we have seen at least a number of proven models, right? Looking at the mobile money and the traditional banking, we can see the models. We can see how the mobile money leapfrog the traditional banking, right? And then so the same is possible in service delivery. Looking at the examples we gave, like the telemedicine, the AI enabled education. You can see how education is even changing. Look at the open universities we have today. You know, compared to the traditional one that you have to be in class every day. So we are seeing the changes. We are seeing the models, right? But I still feel that we don't have that way yet, right? So it still boils down to um having a good structure, building system, right, that can make make what's it called, service delivery last, for a long time, right? So as someone who talks about sustainability, you know, is what we build. We are thinking of how to build it to last, right? Not starting a business in first year and then by year three you're out of business. No. So it shows that there is an absence of structure or a system, right? So if we can build a very strong system or structure, I believe that Africa can become the world's laboratory for next generation service delivery.
Do you think that instead of just like trying to play like every other place, maybe we should leapfrog our traditional service models and maybe use that as a yardstick, because we can't play catch up with the world right now. I mean, look at AI. China is practically taking it into homes. Where do we start? you know, I particularly think that one of our advantage in Africa may be the absence of legacy constraints. All those um, over 100-year-old traditions of things, right? Apart from cultures, I'm talking about legacy constraints. Like we see in Europe. Europe is known for their legacy. Like things just go down the drain, go down the line, as the case may be. So, okay, it still leaves us with the viewers. It's been a very interesting day, and I think we'll be posting this question in the comment section. As the world becomes digitally dependent, what must never be automated? In one word, Mr. Emmanuel.
Well, technology should extend our humanity and never replace it, right? So it's for me, maybe okay. You said it one word. I think that's one word, right? But to emphasize, just for 10 seconds, right? For me, it's we talked about. I think it's more of accountability, right? It's more of accountability. You can automate a transaction, but you can't really automate that connection, that active listening, right? You can't automate mercy. You can't automate owning to a mistake, right? So we can see that the day we let the system absorb the blame, so no one has to, then that's the day service stops being a relationship and just becomes infrastructure, right? So technology should, as I said earlier, it should extend our humanity. It should never replace the part of us that chooses to care.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel, for sharing your opinion on that. Mine is just one word. Empathy must never be automated.
Mm,
That's for me. And
true.
I think that the more I think about this, the more I may, come up with more. But for now, I think that empathy must never be automated. And that brings us
Automated.
to yes, that brings us to The end of this interesting session is as if we should just go on. This international trends and service, just I could go on for 3 hours for the whole day if you let me. But the digital dependency era is not about technology, really. It's not about technology. It's more about how people experience, it's more about how people experience service in a world increasingly mediated by algorithms, where the algorithms are running the show on almost every platform. You have the challenge is not whether AI will transform service. We know that, right? The challenge is ensuring that service remains trustworthy, accountable, and human. That was your choice, accountability, not being automated. So, with that being said, I said, see you all next week on the Service Excellence Roundtable. Um, we would love to have you here. Please do not forget to like. Our video is live. We are not recording it, so every reaction you are seeing is live. All internet service provider challenges and all, right? You are seeing it live. You're getting our reactions live. So yes, please follow us as we would bring another episode next week, analyzing the trends on what has happened from today up until next week. The world is extremely interesting, and with the way service is going, we would love, love, love to keep analyzing these things, especially here, from Nigeria, a third world country. But we are not complaining. We are still part of the global world, right? So thank you, everyone. Please do not forget to follow us. Subscribe and set your notification so that you're able to get updates as to the latest information on what we'll be doing next. Remember, we're always here every Friday by 4 p.m. by the grace of God to be able to give you all the information you need to be able to analyze these things and to be able to share our unrestricted opinions. My name is Priscilla Amade, and I had an amazing guest today. Mr. Ameno, do you have any last words?
No, no, thank you. I think I've said it earlier.
All right, wonderful. With that being
Mm,
said, thank you everyone for being a part of the show. Would love to have you here and have a wonderful day. From the
yeah,
team at
bye.
Service Culture Academy and I, we say thank you for joining us. Do have a wonderful weekend. Cheers.
All
Bye.
right, bye. Bye. Thank you for having me.
We are glad to have you on board.